don their PPE before they arrive at the scene, bring along their escape routes, ask them to approach via different routes. Their mission is to evacuate people away from the affected area to a distance of at least 200 meters. I think the problem with chemical agent attacks is, first of all, is to know whether is it a genuine attack. It could be an innocent incident that took place because of an explosion of some factory nearby, or it could be a terrorist attack. So we do not know yet. SOGF1, can you find out for me how many are dead, how many are unwell?
Currently, I have 11 casualties.
So we look out for specific signs, like are there two or more people who are facing the same symptoms, vomiting, tearing, coughing, and if we see that there are similar symptoms in various unrelated persons, it's a sign of confirmation for us.
I think the SCDF has arrived, so they are coordinating with our ground forces to bring the casualties out of the hot zone that we call it, which is where the smoke is emitted.
If we are using virtual reality, we can definitely do this kind of scenario over and over again. And one time you can have a scenario of building hostage. So another, maybe you have a scenario of airplane hijacking, for example. Another case is you have to, let's say, fight terrorism in open space. So you can change the environment very quickly, and you can still get I'd say about 80% of the benefit in terms of the sense of realness and how you communicate with your team.
What we do is whenever the trainers have an incident or a scenario in mind, possibly extracted from happenings in other countries or those that happen locally, we can quickly translate it into training materials, training visuals, and use it to train our officers.
There's a drone sighted, Can you SOGF1 dispatch officers, our ground officers, tell them that a drone has been sighted between Ngee Ann City and Paragon. Ask them to look for the operator.
Everyone, there's been a drone that has been spotted hovering at Ngee Ann City.
Drone, okay.
Can we see the drone?
You occasionally update that you are still finding the drone operator but unable to make it, see whether they can actually locate via their CCTV. Okay, stand by. Now I'm going to play the green car already.
Can you see the green car that's along Orchard Road? Yes, sir. Let me zoom into that, please. Get officers to respond to the incident.
So we need to find out what this green car is doing here. So send a quick response petrol team, identify the vehicle.
On a normal day, you would think that the car has broken down. But now that there's a major event going on and the threat level is a bit different, so we took the car, the green car that was parked on Orchard. We treated it very seriously. We immediately sent our resources to find out what was going on.
Okay, stand by. At my call, make the car explode. Okay, explode now.
There's an explosion. A car just exploded.
Guys, explosion.
SOGF2, tell TP to stop traffic along Orchard Road. Entirely stop it right now.
Currently, there are TG members nearby the incident.
SOGF1, we're activating the major incident contingency plans. Dispatch team leader and as many officers as you can to the scene.
Okay, stand by. I want you all to hear out what are their reactions and all, what are the kind of responsive resources that they want, and then just update me.
Can you send 10 crowd control officers and also 4 scooter patrols over to the incident location immediately?
We record everything that the directions given by the participants, their body reactions, how they behave, whether they are stressed up, whether the directions given to their subordinates are clear, because within that command post itself, you have different chain of commands. So you have officers looking at their superiors for directions, and then you have the officers trying to coordinate the resources.
We can see what's going on, we can see bodies lying around, we can see damage. And so the next priority is then how do we gain control of that situation.
We see a vehicle that has exploded right in front of a concert. So this is likely to be an IED planted in the vehicle that has exploded. We have also activated our K9, our dogs, to come in to detect any potential secondary devices.
Okay, SOGF1, inform the responding officers not to touch the vehicle.
SODF 2, can you help me check with TP why are the traffic still moving? Can you ask them to stop?
You need help, we can get TP to help your guys to go in.
Can. Sometimes the participants will ask for resources, and they know that, in terms of providing the resources, my team could do it in just a click of a button. For instance, you want the firefighters to come in to douse off the fire, we can just do it at a click of a button, and you can see all the vehicles, all the resources coming in. Again, we make it realistic. If we know that in real time it will take 5 minutes or it will take 10 minutes for the resources to come in, then we'll make sure that we will only provide those resources in 10 minutes.
Command post to LF111, have you managed to tackle the fire over?
Step 1 to command post, we are still trying to tackle the fire situation, over.
Roger.
SOGF1, ask the ground resources to report how many casualties are dead or injured as a result of the explosion.
Sir, total count of casualties, 10 2 fatalities.
Exercise start. Thank you.
So the situation in the forward command post can get very tense. So there were a lot of things that we need to know so that we can react on time and accordingly, and we need to prioritize.
Actually, this is actually very realistic. It's a very good training platform to actually test out all the different scenarios whereby our officers can train to think through how to do it in the actual scenario.
VR allows us to take our officers into a deeper level of training. It's not just about remembering what to do, but it's actually executing what you have learned. And that requires them to be able to analyze what's going on, understand what's going on. Then you have to recollect based on your own experiences, your own understanding and your own learnings. How do you deal with this incident?
All your actions, all your video shots, all your terminals, the screenshots and all are all recorded. So we can play back in time to come. We could make it more immersive such that they're using the different senses, walking, touching and feeling it, the texture and all, such that they use all their senses in order to feel that they are actually at the physical setting itself.
A lot of people say, well, virtual reality isn't really the true thing, but it's the closest thing that you can get to, and you can actually measure people's reactions, right? So even if you then put a little bit of a sensor on them that you can tell what their heart rate is, their pulse is, all that stuff. You can see if their eyes are dilating or not. You can see if they're anxious or not. Right? You can actually start training people for really hostile situations.
We are always preparing our officers to manage all sorts of incidents, and that's where all this simulation capability comes in to test all this out. We hope that it will never happen, but we make sure that if it indeed happen, our officers are ready to manage the incident. Hence why we need all these different training platforms to prepare our officers.
Look forward to brighter skies. The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
The weather, sponsored by Qatar Airways.
This is Asia Now.
It's 11 a.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 8:30 New Delhi and 10 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Lokwe Suethisar. Vietnam striking a conciliatory note in response to being branded a currency manipulator by the U.S. Treasury alongside Switzerland. The country's central bank saying it wants to work with Washington to create a fair and harmonious trade relationship. New coronavirus infections stay above 1,000 in South Korea for a second day straight, with the daily death toll hitting the highest so far. Latest figures tilting the balance further in favor of authorities moving to impose an effective lockdown in the country. A high risk of failure for COVAX. An internal document points to lack of funding as one of several reasons the WHO scheme to provide COVID-19 vaccines to poorer countries may not deliver. Vietnam looking to cooperate, not fight, after the Trump administration labeled